Hello everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thanks for joining me today for Flosstube 143 or 144. I should have looked, I did not look. I want to thank you for joining me today where I'm going to talk about some stitching. I did a lot of stitching this week, like a lot of stitching this week. I don't know, my stitchy bug is like absolutely back. In fact, it's the evening. I was planning on filming this in the morning. It is Sunday I don't know what the date is, Sunday the 18th of January, and I had planned on filming it this morning, but I just wanted to stitch, so I got in almost 700 stitches today. So I don't know who I am, but I will show you all of that. I also have some history to talk about that is not related to stitching, but is, I think, really fun, and I hope that you enjoy it. I'll put that at the end, so if you're not interested, you don't have to talk about that. I fixed a thing. I don't know. I just have some things to talk about. So we're going to talk about some things. I just have a life update. I'm a professor and my classes started this week, so I'll give you the update on that. And yeah, before we get to any of that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. Welcome back to anyone who's been with me for however long you've been with me. It's been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr._Christy, which is listed down below. I also have an Etsy shop where I sell sort of medieval themed patterns and also temperature patterns. So these two guys and her are on there. Oh, and I also have this is Snowflake Serenity for those of you who are in the snow right now, if you're interested in a snowy pattern. And then, like I said, temperature patterns. I wasn't planning on saying all that. Yeah, so this is a channel about embroidery, cross stitch, other textile crafts, history, and the history of all those things. So if that's something you're interested in and you are not subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around. And if you give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, hype my videos with hype points. It'll get my channel out to more people to watch my videos. My views are pretty low. I took a pretty long hiatus, which I think kind of killed the algorithm. So I'd love to like get my views back up and hang out with more people. But I love the people I'm hanging out with, so I'm definitely going to keep making videos either way. Yeah, so let's start with stitching. I don't have any finished objects. But I do have two projects that I've been working on. The first one I've been working on is my Hobbit project, and it's the one I worked on a lot today, but I also worked on it throughout the week. So let me show you what that's going to look like. I have the pattern here on my phone, with PDF on my phone. And it looks like that. I'm going on an adventure. I have, how far am I? I think I'm at almost 80%. I'm at 80.87%, 5,598 stitches. So that's what it looks like. And yeah, here is where I am on this. The main thing I have left to do is the mountain in the middle, right? Everything else, I do have some folks down here who need some more, who need, like shirts and stuff, shirts and pants. And then my wolves over here, one of my wolves needs a what's it called? A chest. Needs a chest. But otherwise, I've done pretty good work. This I did, I think 600. Let me see how many stitches I did today, because I did a lot of stitches on this today. I did 637 stitches on this today. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. This is on a 36 count Edinburgh linen from Forbidden Fiber Co. Let me see. This is from the box, Forbidden Fiber Co. box, but it's called, it's called Burglar. Hold on one sec. The needle minder that came with the box fell out, but I love this needle minder. I wish I used needle minders. I'm going on an adventure. Anyway, this is on a 36 count Edinburgh linen called Burglar. It's on an 1/8 of a yard, a fat 1/8. And I'm using all the called for colors that were all dyed by Forbidden Fiber Co. Yeah, so that's nice. And let me show you all the colors. I'm not going to go through them all, but just so you can kind of see them together. Ooh, they're getting caught on things. All right, so here are the the colors. Lots of greens, lots of browns with a couple other colors thrown, and a couple grays. And this ring came from the box, and it has Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost, and a book says Once Upon a Time. So I keep them on the floss cards, and I tie them in like a loose knot just so that they don't get all raggedy in the bag. But this is I don't think I'm going to finish it this week, but I could finish it this month. That would be pretty cool. I would love to have a finish. I am absolutely a project stitcher as opposed to a process stitcher, which means that I like stitching. I enjoy stitching. It's nice, but I want to finish. I like finishing things. And that's why large projects are stressful for me. And yeah, they're very stressful for me. And I lose interest very quickly, which brings me to my Heaven and Earth design. And this bag was a gift from Jody at Trixie Tricycle, who is also the owner of Cedar River Linen, whose linen I use for my medieval marginalia model stitches. So yeah. So my Heaven and Earth design is called The Lady and the Unicorn, and there are, I think, 5 or 6 of them. I've bought all of them, although I think I may have lost some in a computer crash, which sucks, but that's okay. And the one I'm doing is the final one, which is called Desire or Désir. And this is what it looks like. It is a medieval tapestry that is housed in the Musée de Cluny. In fact, this series has its own room. And what sucks is that I've been to the Musée de Cluny, but I didn't know about this ahead of time because I was expecting to see, because I didn't do my research, I was expecting to see the Unicorn in Captivity, which is the green tapestry with the unicorn in sort of fenced in. So I didn't realize that this was there. So I saw it and I was like, oh, these are cool. But now I need to go back and look at them again now that I have a vested interest in them. So I have done a lot of stitches on this. I did over 1,000 stitches on this yesterday. So let me show you where I am. I am at over 40%. Oh, no, not 40%. No, not 40%. I'm at over 40,000 stitches, though. I am at 42,933 stitches. I'm at 18.84%. Now, when we saw this last week, I was at like 17.75%. So I stitched over 1% of 227,850 stitches. That's a lot of stitching, especially for someone who essentially hadn't stitched before Flossmas in months. So I did no stitches on this today, but I did over 1,000 stitches on this yesterday. Isn't that amazing? Amazing. So amazing. So let me show you where I am, and I'll tell you what I worked on. You know, with a piece like this, it's hard to like pinpoint it. But I've made it easier for myself, and I'll talk about that. So I did all of this black in here. I did all of this black here, all the way down here. I did do some red over here and some red in here as well. So I'm sort of working on filling in this area. But what I decided is that, because before I get to that, the problem with a project like this is that you can do 2,000 stitches and not notice, because it's literally 1% and you just don't notice. And so I was kind of thinking, like, how can I stitch this project and feel like I'm accomplishing something? Because when you stitch a couple thousand stitches and you're like barely breaking the surface, it's a little discouraging. So I've decided I'm going to color complete. I'm going to stitch this project as a color complete. And my first color complete is going to be black, 310. It is the third most common color. It is not the most common color. It's the third most common color, but it's the one I have a lot of, so I don't have to go to the store. I have a cone of doom. That's my screenshot. I have a cone of doom. I have tons of 310. And so what I'm doing is I'm recording my 310 stitches. So on 1/11/2026, I had 9,983 stitches remaining in 310. The other nice thing is that 310's all over. I'll show you where it is on the pattern. As of yesterday, as of the close of day yesterday, I had 8,747 stitches for a total stitch count this week of 1,236 black stitches. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm keeping this in the bag. And then I think what I'm going to do when I finish stitching this, all the blacks, and my goal is to finish all the blacks this year, I'm going to go on to one of the reds, not the one with the most stitches, the one with the second most stitches. And that is 9, which one is it? No, 814, which is like a burgundy color, a maroon color. 814 has 11,000 stitches, and then 817, which is kind of a brighter red, has 16,500 stitches. So we're going to start with 310. I'm going to watch that number go down until it hits 0, and then we're going to do the larger ones. But let me show you, let me show you where 310 is on this project. So this isn't quite the whole thing, but you can see that 310's kind of all throughout the project. Now, if we look at 814, it's almost all throughout the project, but there's kind of a big section in the middle where there's the tent. So it's like, yes, there's tons everywhere, but this whole kind of middle doesn't have any. So I wanted the black in order to anchor the rest of the piece, because it's in the tent, it's in the background, it's in the trees. And I think that that'll be really fun. And 8,000 stitches is like a reasonable amount of stitches. That's like a medium piece. I can stitch a medium piece in a year, you know what I mean? So I think that'll be super fun. So I'm going to color complete 310 this year. Now my hope is that I finish it pretty quickly. I mean, I did 1,200 this week. I don't expect to be doing 1,200 every week. I just really got a stitchy bug, and we have a 3-day weekend this weekend. So, yeah. So probably not the same. I won't be doing 1,200 stitches in black every week. But the thing is that I don't have to think about it. I don't have to decide what I'm going to stitch. I just have to stitch black. And if I get bored with stitching black, I'll just stitch another color. It's not like I can't stitch another color. It's just that I know what color I'm going to start with. Is that smart? I think it's smart. So it's like a little mini victory that I'm keeping up with. So that is very exciting. So that is my stitching for the week, and I'm really stoked. Like, I'm super excited about it. I think it'll be great. And I'm absolutely going to get to 20%. My goal is to get to 20%, which was, 2,000 stitches, and now it's less than that. Less than that. So let me just talk. Oh, the other thing I want to do is, while we're here, while we're on the phone, I have to empty out my Ort jar. My Ort jar runneth over. So I put my Orts in here, and I have it on a shelf over there that I can look at when I come in. This is just like a wedding card, box. Someone suggested doing a pattern right here to say what this is, and I think that'll be super fun. But for now, for now, we're gonna, and you can see my mess, sorry. But for now, we're gonna stick this in. I don't think I can stick the whole thing in at once. So we're gonna stick it in layers. Because it's sort of in layers, which is really interesting, I think. So we got one. And I think that this is actually 2 years worth of stitching because I really did not stitch very much last year. Let's get some over here. There we go, look at that. So nice, so nice. And I have a clean slate. So that's fun. Oh, the other thing I want to talk about when it comes to this stitch is that I went on and on and on and on about these books, and my favorite character is Tom Bombadil. And my mom texted me and she's like, Christy, Tom Bombadil is not in The Hobbit, he's in Lord of the Rings. So I think I need to reread The Hobbit because I didn't watch all the movies. I saw the first movie because it was a trilogy. I saw the first movie, but I did not watch the other movies. So I think I just need I need to read it. I need to read it or listen to it because I think I have it on audiobook. I think I bought the audiobook. So I just need to listen to it, and that'll be really fun. Actually, that would be really fun. I'm driving to my sister's baby shower at the end of the month, and maybe I will listen to The Hobbit. That sounds actually delightful. That sounds delightful. Good, good, good. The other thing that I fixed was my tie. And I not only fixed it, but I switched the side of the clasp, and I switched it to a lobster claw clasp instead of like the round clasps that are super difficult to, you know, close. I just can't close. Like I can't, it's more difficult. So this will work really well. I love this. I can wear this again. That makes me really happy. And then, I also got a great suggestion to put Mod Podge on this. Now, I was going to do that today, but I don't have Mod Podge, I discovered. So I might have to go do a little shopping tomorrow and get a little bit of Mod Podge because Mod Podge is always good to have. And take care of this tomorrow. And the other thing I want to do that I had planned on doing today, but I just wanted to stitch, was to finish my Prosperity Hen Marcia. And yes. And I will do that tomorrow too, maybe. Yeah, so as a product stitcher, I think that changing the, you know, the way I think about my Heaven and Earth design project will make a huge difference in my satisfaction with the stitching. Yeah. I'm warm in here, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to go turn off the heater. Hold on one sec. I don't know why I'm feeling warm. It's only 70 degrees in here Fahrenheit, which is not that warm. All right, so let's talk a little bit of history here. I am a medieval historian, but at my job, I am the non-US pre-1800 history professor. That's no one else teaches that. That's just me. And I really enjoy experiential learning activities for my students, sort of hands-on things that students can really get a feel for, get the feeling of history, see historical objects in action, those kinds of things. But unfortunately, I live in rural Mississippi. My students may have never been to a museum. My students have never seen any artifact before 1900, 1850. You know, they have not seen these things. Not seen objects from around the world. So I try really hard to kind of bring those things into the classroom, activities and objects, so that students can get a feel of what life was like in the pre-modern world. And I do this, like I said, through activities, things like food, spinning and textiles. And lately I've been really interested in book arts. And I applied for a fellowship to the Rare Book School at the University of Virginia, and I got the fellowship. And so I went to a really amazing class last summer in Virginia on teaching the history of the book and pedagogy and those kinds of things. And along with the fellowship comes a little seed money to build, to do something, to bring sort of the history of the book or book arts back to your university. So I'm going to build a history of the book class, and I'm going to build a book arts minor in the next 2 months. That's my goal. It's not that hard to do. So at my university, it's really easy to start a new sort of minor program. They don't have to get very much approval. So in my, desire to give students these activities and these experiences, I'm building myself a teaching collection of early printed and manuscript materials. And I'm planning on building this collection over the years because some of these things are really expensive, like medieval. Well, I'm never going to own a medieval manuscript because they are just thousands of dollars, and that's not going to happen. But I am planning on purchasing a couple of pages from medieval manuscripts on vellum that are like handwritten, et cetera, et cetera. But more easily than that is finding old printed books. So I have some old printed books I want to show you that I think are really fun. And then I also have a birthday present from my husband that is also really fun that I wanted to show you. So these are not in great shape. And the nice thing about the kind of collection that I need is that I actually don't need them to be in great shape. In fact, it's better that they're not in great shape because then students can see how these books were constructed. And I'm going to use my seed money to buy book binding supplies in order to start a sort of book binding, a book lab, right? A book binding lab at my university. And my hope is I'm applying to take the book binding for book historians this summer in Boston as my second class of the fellowship. So I have old books. I bought these off of eBay, and they're kind of amazing because old books reused different parts of older books in order to, save on paper. But this is The History of Great Britain, from the first invasion of it by the Romans under Julius Caesar, by Robert Henry D.D. And this is the most recent book, printed in London in 1814. So I love it. It's actually in pretty decent shape. It has a lot of stuff. It has a lot of parts of it that I want to talk about with students. This is an early 19th century book. Very exciting. So we have that one. And then we have books in like really bad shape. Someone like masking taped the cover on this. So this one is, let me just make sure I'm on the right. Yeah, this way. This one is Pliny's letters. Pliny was a Roman writer. The Letters of Pliny. The Consul with occasional remarks by William Melmoth, Esquire, the 8th edition, volume 2. I also have volume 1. This is printed in 1786. So there's that. And you can see it's all his letters. And they're translated. That's nice. That's nice. So that's that. And then this is the volume 1, I believe. Again, it's kind of messed up. But again, you can see how it's constructed, which is very useful. Yeah, and I think this is volume 1. And I don't remember if the other one had the image on it, but that's a fantastic image. That's fantastic. So those are so I have a 1 19th century, 2 18th century books. And then this one is duct taped. Someone duct taped this book together. But this one is very exciting. A description of the state of Great Britain, written 1100 years since by that ancient and famous author Gildas. So there's a picture. And this is from 1652. Isn't this great? And it is printed. This looks like an octo is what I learned in Rare Book School, which means that it is the large sheet of paper is folded. This is like an eighth of the paper, possibly even a 12th, but I'll have to look. I now know how to look for it, so that's very exciting. But anyway, yeah, so this is a very early printed book. This, like I said, was 1652. Printed and are to be sold by John Hancock in Pope's Head Alley, London. Very fun. So I have that one. And then I have one that's pretty damaged. In fact, the whole front cover is off. And I have like random notes. I have someone who owned it in the 19th century. It looks like 1805 or 1815. Wrote me a little letter. I have some later letters about other things. I need to look it over more closely. Someone wrote in the cover, and this is from 1835, and it looks like it's Julius Caesar. And this one, I believe, is in Latin. Caesar's Commentaries. This one's in Latin. But we have a lovely frontispiece. And then I haven't even really looked at these. I just got them. But this one has all sorts of like cool wood, like little pictures in it. Look at that. Now my Latin is no longer usable, unfortunately. So I will not be able to read this. But 1635. So this is the kind of thing where when we're looking at different, like when I'm teaching the history of the book, I can, this is a map. Is this a map? I hope this is a map. It is! It's a map of Gaul. That's great. That's great. So this is the kind of thing that I can let my students actually handle. I'll teach them how to handle it carefully, but you can handle books like this, and I'll let them handle them. And I have two more, I think, 17th century little tiny books in my office that I can also have students look at. And this way we can talk about differences in like paper and printing style and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's that. And then for my birthday, my husband got me a print from, this is a page from the Nuremberg Chronicles, the Nuremberg Chronicle 1493. So this is a really special print. Essentially, the earliest printed texts, which were printed from the Gutenberg press in like the 1430s and 40s to 1500, 1505, are called incunabula or incunables. And I don't know why. I need to do more research on that. But essentially, these like really early texts are very special and are very expensive. So a copy of the Nuremberg Chronicle would be like $80,000 to $90,000. So I'm not doing that. But you can buy the pages, which is unfortunate that it didn't stay together. But you can buy the leaves, you can buy the pages, and you can look at them that way. So for my purposes, because I'm more interested in like the structure and creation of the books, I don't need whole fancy leather bound books. And so it's making the collection process much less expensive than it would otherwise be, which is nice. So yeah, that's the history that I've been working on. I just spent last night on eBay buying a couple of individual sheets of, like, I think one of them is a will, like a 17th century will, and some other just random things on paper, because I want to show students what the paper looks like with watermarks and how the paper is made and stuff like that. So anywho, that's all I have for today. Classes went well this week, and I'm excited for the new semester. Although I have to say I'm already a little bit tired. I already feel like it's like week 5 and week 2 starts tomorrow. So that's not good. But I'm so happy to be able to hang out with you today, and I will talk to you very soon. And hopefully my stitchy bug will continue to be as robust as it has been this week. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and if anyone remembers from The Hobbit where the wolves come in, let me know. Otherwise, I'll know in 2 weeks when I listen to it on my way driving to the Northeast. Thanks so much for watching. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.